So we're here after UFC 270 and quite the matchup there was. I don't know if that was a snooze fest, whether it was brilliance. Is Ngannou the new Khabib? And did Nate actually tweet his tweets? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. Hey guys, I'm Tejas, and that's the plan.
Hello guys.
And we made our predictions earlier today for the Francis versus Ciryl Gane main event, and we both got it wrong, but not the way we expected it. Francis still won by unanimous decision, his first in his MMA career.
Quite shocked. To be frank, we expected a knockout victory from Francis, and we thought like he'll get the job done. We obviously knew that in the stand-up fight, Gane's gonna be like really good with his striking and the kickboxing ability he has, and that's what we saw in the first couple of rounds. And I feel those are the only first two rounds where Ciryl Gane got his points from. And coming into the third round, Francis just straight away went for the takedowns. And instead of calling it a takedown, I will call it a body slam. I mean, his mass and with what he fell on fell on Ciryl Gane was like outstanding. And then I remember saying that when these two giants were fighting in the ring, I'm like, man, my whole TV screen is filling up by them, and their heads were like actually above the octagon ring.
Oh yes,
I'm like, these two are giants, man.
Yeah,
So
these two were um, giants in the octagon, and it
made
was
for
quite
each
a
other, made
moment
for this
when
fight.
both of them sized each other up before the first round began. And the first two rounds went to Ciryl. He controlled Ngannou in the fight at that point, played his style of fighting, which is staying in and out of the pocket, landing leg kicks and
Yeah,
jabs. And Ngannou was kind of frustrated, wasn't he?
he was frustrated, and he was breathing a lot heavy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he already started sweating a lot after the first round. He was breathing heavy, and his trainer started putting the ice packs all over his body,
Mm-hmm.
and he started gulping water, and he was like puffing out and all. So that's when I told you also, right? Like, he will wait out the second round, and then he will go into the striking in the third round, and that's when he body slammed Ciryl Gane. And do you think in that round he could have capitalized on that moment after he wrestled Ciryl Gane down? And then what do you think? Did you think like that after the takedown was half-hearted, or he didn't do what he should have in
I
that
mean, the
takedown?
takedown wasn't half-hearted, and to begin with, that was the most surprising thing about the whole fight. Francis Ngannou wrestling. In the second round, he went into many clinch situations, and I thought, why is
Hmm.
he, expending all his energy on these
Correct.
clinches? But when he slammed Ciryl in the third round, it was a good slam. But unfortunately, what we ended up seeing was him not capitalizing on these takedowns the way we would
Hmm.
have thought. He seemed more keen on getting the ground control.
I mean, I don't know if that was the game plan to begin with. If that was the game plan and then it was executed 100%.
Hmm.
If his coaches said like be just on top of him and
Right.
get the maximum ground control time, and if that was the game plan, then yes, it worked.
Some of
But
that Usman influence.
maybe, but then like what you have seen from Khabib,
Hmm.
like when he takes his man down,
Hmm.
he talks, he insults, and he fires punches. and
Yeah.
and and we expected that from
I mean,
Francis,
I guess we
because
can't expect that from someone who's just started getting a hang of wrestling, but at least
but
some shots
eventually,
either to the
let's say
body,
even if
anything,
you were to take me down, you would punch my face, right?
undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly you would punch my face, and I'm like, you have been annoying me all these years, elbowing me, and at least hitting the knee so that after we stand up I'm wobbly. But we
Yeah,
didn't see much of
something.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Something, right? Something
he
of that
didn't
sort.
let go of those punches. Neither did he try a submission, and he has had submission victories in the past. And there were many positions where he could have done anything really, but he
Yeah,
didn't pull the trigger. Enough ground control to win him the match eventually,
I
a
think it was
unanimous
over five
decision.
minutes. I think it was
But
over 5 minutes.
quite the surprise.
Quite
No
the
other way to put
surprise.
it.
And there was actually one round where we felt like it's done for Francis. I think it was the fourth round when it was again a takedown. But this time, Ciryl Gane was in a Kimura position.
Oh yes, that was that was terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and we were like, oh my god,
Do
if
you
it's
wanna
a Kimura, then
talk
it's
about a
done.
little story back from school times?
No, let's
Ah, come
keep it
on,
for another
a little
video.
Kimura story.
Okay, so we used to do WWE shit in school, and this man Tejas had the audacity to do Kimura on me. And I
Oh,
reversed it, and everyone was shocked. And I don't know why I did it. I could have snapped my shoulders, but yeah, I did
yeah,
it. We were
we were
young
a
guns.
crazy lot back in the day, but yeah, we had
Yeah,
so hence when we saw that we were like, oh boy, we know all about this.
yes.
Doesn't tend to.
So to
Yeah,
be frank, there was nothing much that happened in the fight that we would talk about. Like
yeah.
in the first two rounds, we saw good body kicks from Ciryl Gane,
Oh yeah,
and
brilliant.
then I saw a desperate attempt of body kick from Francis, and I started tripping there. I'm like,
I
why?
hope I can
And
find a
then
picture of that.
yeah, and then you know how Ciryl Gane just like steps aside,
Yeah,
which works quite a lot for him. So that's what happened, and after the second round, in the third round, the whole ground control started happening, taking
speaking
place.
of the ground control, were you also as impressed as I was with that? Because I think in the fifth round, Ciryl was actually on top of Francis, and he swept Ciryl to regain top control, which I thought was incredible from a guy who was not good at wrestling prior to this match.
Yeah, obviously like very like hard to imagine from someone who just doesn't know wrestling, because wrestling
Hmm.
is a skill game.
Right.
Wrestling is not like a sucker punch you land and it flats someone out.
Hmm.
Wrestling is so technical that even if a person who's like half of your weight knows how to wrestle, he
Hmm.
can outperform you.
That is
And that's
true.
one of the key in MMA, and you learn it like he did learn it in a good amount of time, I guess. But
Not
whatever
in.
he learned,
I mean, over the last few fights, and he seems to be doing
yeah.
fairly well with his defense in the last fight with Stipe, and offensive wrestling in this case, slamming and throwing Ciryl Gane around, who's by no means a small man.
Yeah, bro, he's not. Trust me. I mean, how many times have you seen Mark Dean looking tiny?
Oh my god. Only during these heavyweight fights, and maybe that's why they
Yeah,
have Herb Dean around for these fights because he's the
yeah.
only one who can separate
Man's a
them for
legend. Man's a
clinches, and
legend.
yeah, he's a
And for
legend,
some
no
reason, I
doubt
call
about
him
it.
Booker T. So yeah.
Oh, so anyways, what are your thoughts on the match overall? I found it interesting for the wrestling, and I saw some comment on Insta or something on a post that said this was the most boring, interesting fight ever. And I think
Uh,
the I wouldn't say boring, but there was that element of disappointment because Francis did not make the most of his opportunities. But the wrestling was
see,
beautiful to watch.
here's the point with ground control. Okay, you can either make it look good
Hmm.
with all
Khabib
those
style.
punches, yeah, Khabib style, and all that talking things, or is just like what Francis did, just stay on top of him, get
Yeah.
that time, and then you can win.
Hmm.
And one of the judges actually scored it like 48-47. That's what even I had in my cards,
Right.
48-47, and it was just because of the ground control time he got.
Hmm.
So just by this much margin, he got it off,
In fact, even in the
which
last
we don't
round,
see from Francis.
you do remember that there was an ankle lock almost in place, and Ngannou was just
Oh,
like,
oh, bro.
this is nothing.
Yeah, Francis, yeah. It was an ankle lock, and it was ankle lock by none other than Ciryl Gane. That the
Yeah,
man's arm is like, and
I
Francis
know.
like,
Yeah.
I'm not even trying. He was sitting down. I'm not trying, and that's how the match ended. So yeah, it was quite not boring, but if you're not into MMA, if you are not into wrestling, all you want to see is boxing stuff, then yeah, you might find it boring. We get why people are saying that.
Hmm. I mean,
Quite an
Cyril.
interesting question.
Yeah,
People are
you go.
asking, can Francis be the next Khabib? I've saw
it's
it. I've
it's
seen few pictures of him like with that hair things and all,
that's
like the
probably
wig.
going to be a thumbname for this video. Hope I
Yeah,
find a
yeah.
nice
Good
edit
job.
for that. No, no, he's not the next Khabib because we have a long list of amazing wrestlers other than him in the UFC.
Hmm.
But what he has shown is there are ways to evolve your game, which I think is the theme of this video. We have seen
Yeah.
fighters like McGregor, who's never seemed to learn how to find ways to defend himself on the ground and evolve a bit more. Not to say that he doesn't put any effort, but hasn't shown in his fights, unfortunately. But Ngannou on this other side, pretty impressive, I would say.
Yeah, he was good in like knockout power. He always had the knockout power,
Yeah, yeah, also.
and now he has got the ground game.
Mhm.
The only thing remaining to see is a flying 540-degree kick, and that's all.
I
So
think that's
yeah,
also there in his repertoire. It's
I don't know. The
it's
next thing
some
we see,
he's
he
gonna
sees our
unleash it
video and
some
he's like,
other
I should
time.
give this a try. Next thing I know, if he sees our video and he's like, oh, I gotta try this. It looks so cool. So yeah.
That
Uh,
would be quite the moment if he did try it after watching this video. Francis, just a suggestion from the pan after all. So I mean, Cyryl's performance. Let's quickly rate Cyryl's performance. Ciryl, he did well in making Ngannou fight his style of fight, but he got overpowered in the end, which
Come
we
on.
couldn't have
I
thought.
mean, Cyril's good, all right. Let's get this straight. No matter what we see, Ciryl is damn good. 10
Mhm.
fights and he's fighting the champion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
He is
that
good.
to none other than Francis.
Right,
So
right.
he is really good. I think many people are saying that Ciryl will face Stipe next.
I've heard
That's
talks
a
of that.
possibility. I have heard the talks about it. And then you raised a good, a suggestion like maybe Francis will retire now.
It is possible, and that also
Yeah.
goes back to his issues with the UFC. Dana did not wrap the belt around him, although he was there for the co-main to wrap the belt around Figueiredo, the flyweight champ. So clearly something going on there.
You want the answer?
Huh?
Do you want to know why?
Not sure. I want to know. Keep those thoughts brewing in your head here. We'll leave that aside. Ngannou has shown some interest in turning to a career in boxing. Um, I'll
Hmm.
probably have to wait if he's gonna
I've
face someone
seen the
like
news.
Tyson Fury.
Oh, no chance. No chance. I mean, okay, first 2 rounds
Although
by any margin.
imagine he goes there and does something, and this clip of no chance plays on.
No, no,
Unlikely
no,
though.
no. Very, very unlikely.
The
Tyson
skill
Fury is a
that
very,
someone like
very
a
good
Tyson Fury
boxer
has is on another level.
on another level, man. Straight
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, that those were the thoughts of the main event, and just
Main event, yeah.
quickly, we also watched the co-main event, Brandon Moreno versus Figueiredo, the trilogy. Moreno coming in after a very confident and dominant win in their rematch, a submission victory, and didn't go in his favor this time. It was close, but he could not win. Figueiredo won a unanimous decision 48-47. I think you had a similar score, right, Dipan?
I had similar scores for Figueiredo, like 47, 48 towards him.
Hmm.
On the other hand, Moreno looked overconfident, I felt.
Yeah, there were
From
times when he
the
was showboating, right?
Yeah, there were times, and like I don't want to act like him what he was doing because I look crazy. So I mean, if you are coming into a fight like a rematch where you want to put an end to a trilogy,
Hmm.
I feel you got to take it more seriously.
Yeah,
um
I mean, there
and
were just
overall,
moments where Figueiredo
yeah,
took some part of the round away, like that beautiful right that he landed on Moreno.
I think it was an overhand,
My
right? Yeah.
goodness, it was knocked down at the end of round three, and I think
Yeah,
that might have swayed it for the judges
I also
overall.
remember him like connecting a hand and then he went for a kick. I
Hmm.
also remember that happening. I don't know what that kick was, but I think it landed towards his right of the face of like Moreno.
Hmm.
I have forgotten,
Hmm.
so I might be wrong. But yeah, overall, I felt Figueiredo did land little bit of more like leg kicks and strikes
Yeah,
that
he did
actually
land
connected.
kicks. Yeah.
So yeah, fair play. I mean, we might see another fourth
We
match.
might see a fourth match because I think that would have been a bit controversial. Not seeing what
Yeah,
the reporters have said and
it
what the
could have
news
gone
articles
either
have said.
ways. It could have gone either way. So
Right. I thought they would side towards Moreno because I think he was leading
the
on
champ.
strikes and he was a champ.
Yeah,
Or at worst a split decision, but I didn't see it going completely towards Figueiredo. But he fought hard. He fought hard and well. Both fighters could have done more, but that's what we were presented with.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, at this division, the fight usually goes at a like like very fast. No, I mean, I want to
good
say
pace. Yeah,
the pace is really high, right?
right, right.
So we thought there's gonna be like much of more action. There was action, but don't get me
There
wrong.
was action. Yeah.
There was action, but I felt like there was not like a very moment or for us to put it in like the fight
Mm.
of the 2022, maybe in the next year that we're
Which
gonna
I
make.
think I'm not sure if I remember right, but the first fight in 20 at the end of 2020 was at least certainly a candidate for fight of the year 2020, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
This was another. Uh, I mean, it was a cracker of a fight, but
Overall, UFC
overall,
270, I feel it was a packed stadium. Don't get me
it was a
wrong, but
packed stadium. Yeah,
yeah, but I don't. It failed to meet the expectation for me. That's what I would say.
two huge
Mm,
title fights, which didn't go as wasn't as much of a firecracker as we
I
would have
mean,
thought.
both the fighters have their history of their own. I mean, Moreno
Mm,
and Figueiredo, and we
mm,
also know about Francis and Ciryl Gane.
right, right.
So they had their history, and and we wanted to see like more, right? That would
Yeah,
support what they
yeah.
had.
We
So
want to see more. But still, overall, an interesting event in UFC history. Not the most exciting one. I think for me, it's still gonna be that. I think UFC 260 something when Usman fought Masvidal, Rose beat Zhang Weili by head kick, and
mhm.
there's also Valentina Shevchenko who beat Jessica Andrade very
Just
comfortably.
yeah,
That was one of the best events that I've seen in
yeah,
a recent time. Yeah, but still something that I will remember. Maybe not for the
hmm,
same reasons as the others.
yeah.
So, second video of 2022. Thank you guys for joining
uh,
us.
we are very regular. We are changing ourselves. You gotta change yourself and follow us. And yeah, if you find this video boring, it's not our fault. We are just
Oh
giving the
boy.
reviews on what has happened. And if
Why
something
would
was
you think
already
these are boring to
boring and we
find?
review that, then it's gonna be extra boring, right? So we tried our best to make it fun. So yeah,
Yeah,
hope you like
I
it.
think people appreciate it. Uh, I don't know what else I could do honestly to make it entertaining. Maybe I could have my roommate just come and give a shout out here. That would change things. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. That's all we have for today. Thank you guys for joining us again. We'll see you next time.
See you guys. भाई नहीं भाई मैं लीव मीटिंग कर रहा हूँ भाई
Bit of a different setting for today's video.